Hi everyone, this is Dr. S, and this is the second video in the True North and Major Definite Purpose series. And on this particular one, we're going to focus on Major Definite Purpose. So let's go ahead and scroll down to that. Last time we went through True North and ended on asking what is your particular True North. Now we're going to focus on what is Major Definite Purpose. Major Definite Purpose is your current focal purpose, and this changes over the course of your life. This actually changes much more often than your True North will, because it involves your roles, your jobs, your identities, and so on. And so what ends up happening is an interesting phenomena if you're growing and moving towards your True North. Now, of course, there's a variety of other different models that could happen here that do not quite look like this healthy movement that I'm about to show you. And that, of course, is the way that most people are living. And I'll kind of maybe add that in as I'm talking. So what do I mean by this? Let's use a kind of graphic to describe what I mean by this changes over the course of your life. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, we have your True North. And that is something that you've decided. They're choices that you've made about the overall purpose and direction of your life. And it has a high degree, like 100%, right, of how you might be living up to your values if you truly could bring that True North into play. And hopefully you'll reach that before you go from 0 years old to, say, 100 years old. But at around this time or somewhere in here, of course, we all are going to die and go on to the next one. And so what we would like to be able to do over the course of our life is between 0 and this time that we pass on is to progressively step toward having a high percentage of my values or your values that you're living. And so what will this look like? Well, it'll look kind of like a zigzag where you're going up and you've had one major definite purpose, you move to another, and sometimes you'll maybe take a step back because you've had to go and do something to invest in yourself or something happens in your life, and you'll keep moving in this way where you're zigzagging up toward the place where by the time you get to a certain point in your life, it could be halfway through, it could be 3/4 of the way through, it could even be 1/4 of the way through, who knows, where you're living a higher and higher degree of the percentage of your values that you would like to manifest in the world. Now, some people get stuck and then they'll tank way down here, or they'll get caught in some sort of loop and they can't get out of it. And these are blocks, and that's a totally different class and different thing that we'll work on. What you should know is the healthy movement zigzags around, does some circles, but eventually is always making progressive movement toward the actual True North with each of your major definite purposes. So let's give this even some more example, and I'll talk about the major definite purposes that I work on and how this ultimately works in terms of changing. So for me, currently, my current major definite purpose is broken into these two different areas as we described in the first video, life's work and life's play. And so for me, if someone said, okay, well, if you're about igniting and fueling holistic transformation in your life's work, how do you go about doing that? Well, I do that as a professor. That's a major purpose of mine. It's very definite. It's clear. I'm the academic program director. I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and my major focus has been as a consultant. I'm going to use this here in a second and talk to you about evolution. And in my life's play, to be actively engaged with my flourishing family of friends, I play some different roles. I am a husband, I'm a father, I'm a family member, I'm a friend. And in each of these different things is how I play that out at this particular point in my life. I imagine as time goes on, some of these will shift and change. Because, for example, I'm a family member. At some point, I assume that my mom will pass on. And, while I'll still be theoretically a son, I won't have that relationship that I'm working on anymore. But I will still be a brother to my sister and my other two brothers. So how might this evolve? Let's take an example of the life's work. So if we can move this forward and we talk about zigzagging forward, what I've been working on actually with my wife, we've decided to merge our business practices. And I still have these other pieces: professor, AP director, business owner, entrepreneur, and consultant. But what we're doing is we're now building transformational retreat designer and teacher roles into our life. And these are different major definite purposes. And so what you can see is that's the transformation that's happening inside this zigzag. And if I'm halfway through, somewhere in there, for me, I'm making a change so that I'm ultimately stepping up to the next level. All right, that's True North, major definite purpose. I can't wait to be working with you more on this in class.